even the creator of the universe is a writer. It is important to write because we need to have materials that will guide us, that will define our stories, that will define our lives as individuals, that will define our uniqueness. Books contain words, and words are powerful. Words give light, and words have the ability to transform every human being. Music is not ordinary. Music has depth. There's more to music than meets the eyes. Because,
absolutely.
Music is full of inspiration, and music is spiritual.
Hi, and welcome to Page to Shelf podcast. My name is Omolara Perez, your host. It is another fascinating episode, and I am so thrilled to be here. I am so thrilled. Today's episode promises to be a lot. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be extraordinary. Trust me, you need to get your phone pad ready, get your notebook, get your pen, whatever it is, just get it ready because today is going to be amazing. My goodness. The topic and the guests are off the roof. It's going to be amazing. So just get ready. I'll be back shortly. Welcome back. I am so thrilled to have you here. If you're not following us on our social media platforms, please do so now. On Instagram at Page to Shelf, TikTok, Page to Shelf Podcast, and YouTube, Page to Shelf. Let's get right into it. Today's topic is why write a book? This question is on the minds of many people, and I mean many people. You do not need a certification in writing. Either do you need a certification in English language to write a book because you have a story to tell that would impact generations and even the people that are around you. As usual, I will not be doing this alone. I have an amazing guest with me. And when I say amazing, I mean amazing in every sense of the word. Just hold on while I read his profile. His name is Olatiliwa Oyefeso, and I purposely had to mention the full name, Olatiliwa, for my non-Yoruba speaking audience. It means the wealth that comes from a home. The reason I said this is because, when I saw him backstage, I'm like, oh, you look like your name. And when you see my guest, you're going to be thrilled because he does look like, wealth that was packaged in a human being. And this is not just wealth in terms of money, but in terms of experience and expertise. Just wait, you're going to get into that. He is a professional lawyer with remarkable years of experience in business administration and public relations. On top of that, he served as the chief magistrate in Nigeria before. That's amazing, right? I mean, how many talents and how many gifts can one person embody? On top of that, he is an author, and his book is amazing. He's an author, and also he is a man who is, let me say this word. He's versatile. That's the best word, but he's versatile. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my amiable guest, Mr. Olatiliwa Oyefeso.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's amazing to see you. I hope you can see what I'm talking about, the wealth that comes from a home. You see this tease, the composure, it's really, he's coming here is a blessing. We're honored to have you on this podcast today. So first off, Mr. Olatiliwa, you are a lawyer, a business administrator, public relations officer, you are also, you love music. How would you describe yourself knowing that you embody all of this? What would you say? How would you describe yourself? Like, what do you think? Do you think you're multi-talented? So people say multi-talent, no, that's like, one of the lingua that is in Nigeria. How would you describe yourself, and how did you find yourself in all of this field? How did you journey into becoming all of this?
Okay, first and foremost, I'll go back to my name, right? I have a middle name that's David, so it's Olatilewa David Oyefeso. Your name is your being, so it's very important to have it complete. So Olatilewa David Oyefeso. Thank you very much. Then again, my personality, simple. I'm a very passionate person, and I love to explore. And I also like to do a lot of critical thinking, ask questions about so many important and fundamental issues of life. And very, very focused when it has to do with what I want for myself and what I really want to achieve in life. So basically, I'm just a simple, focused, determined individual.
Amazing. I mean, picking from the word you said, you like to explore, and I think that explains why you have diversified your skill and your interest. That's amazing. So my first question to you is, what motivated you to write a book? You are also, and I'm aware of one of your books that was published by Book Spider, Mellowfiles in the Metaverse. Right, that's like huge. I mean, you're a lawyer writing a book. I didn't expect anything less, right? So, what motivated you to write a book? You're a lawyer, you're other things, but what motivated you to write a book instead?
Okay, straight into it. Books for me, they are very important. Books contain words, and words are powerful. Permit me to quote a certain scripture that says, "The entrance of His word gives light." So words give light, and words have the ability to transform every human being.
That's true.
Then words again, they are seeds. And you know what that means. You have seeds, then you have a bountiful harvest. So books for me, they are the tools of life. If you are skillful with words and all of that, then there's no limit to what you can do with yourself. And there's no limit to how far you can go in life.
Wow. I just hear that. Words are seeds. Words are light. So I think that is, if I should answer your question, if you're watching and you're wondering, wow, words are seeds. Like I said earlier, you live far beyond yourself. I'm Mr. Ife, so just elaborating that. Thank you very much. That's a very profound way to look at writing. So, Alexa, how do you think that your background as a magistrate, influenced your motivation to write? Because first off, your book is even about music in itself, which I'm going to get into. But I think looking at how you are a magistrate, a lawyer, how do you think it influenced your writing?
Oh, fantastic! Lawyers write a lot.
Given
from your days in the university, you write cases and exams. You read a lot of novels, and at the same time, you do a lot of writing. You write notes. You write precedents and all of these things. So I developed writing when I was a sophomore in the university. That's in my Ep2. I discovered that it was very easy for me to write, and sometimes I also write during my leisure, and I got into other activities outside of the formal environment in church and all of that, and I was doing a lot of writing in all of those platforms. I found myself, and I just continued in that dimension, and from there on I started writing and continued writing up to the point where I noticed that I had a flair for it. So when I became a practicing lawyer, I was very, very interested in legal drafting. So anytime I'm in the office and you need to prepare documents, write letters, I was always very fascinated about that. And I was always willing to go all out to write and make sure that what I'm writing is pleasing to the reader.
That's amazing. And I have to ask a question because most people would think that you would have to love writing from the very onset to write a book. And for people who are also in other professions like you are in, right? I give in lawyers write a lot, but then you're also a public relation officer, you're a business administrator. So given for people who are not exactly writers, I have to ask a question so they can understand and see that aside from being a writer, you can write a book based on where you are at the skill and the profession that you find yourself in. And so if you're watching this and you're an engineer, for example, you're a baker, you're a chef, you can write a book. It is important to write a book. Amazing. Thank you very much for that, sir. So I'm going to ask this because I want you to explain it in a broader term. Why do you think writing is such an important tool, especially in today's generation? So now we're in the world of social media. Anybody can just come up and write something on their posts on social media and all of that, and they just go. And it feels like, oh, that's all that they can do. But like you said, words are seeds. And although they say that the internet never forgets, there is nothing like having an hardcore. Like, for example, like your book that was printed out. There's nothing like having. Why do you think writing is such an important tool that can shape, like you've mentioned, right? What you wrote in your book, which we're going to get into, is for a set of people. And anybody who picks that book can gain from experience, can gain from the knowledge you've poured into the book. Why do you think it's such an important tool in this generation where knowledge is common and not so common? Do you understand my question, sir? Why do you think writing is such an important tool in this time? Especially in this generation where we want it fast, and we want to just move on to the next thing. We're not trying to retain knowledge.
Okay, good question. For me, the reason writing is very important is simple. Okay? Even the creator of the universe is a writer.
Word. Pardon me, I need to like digest that for you. Take a deep breath. Even the creator of the universe is. See, when you are writing this code on social media, please tag Page Shelf and also give credit to our guest. Thank you. Please go on.
Yes, the creator of the universe. God is a writer. That's why we have
the Bible.
The Bible. And the Bible, as we all know, is inspirational. It's motivational. It guides. It gives instructions. It gives direction. It gives us vision and all of that. So that question basically has been answered by that illustration, because it is important to write, because we need to have materials that will guide us, that will define our stories, that will define our lives as individuals, that will define our uniqueness, our identity as a people, such that, every generation that comes has a reference point that will continue that tradition and that evolution. So writing is definitely part of human life and civilization.
I'm inspired. I feel like taking a book and just start writing that. Just writing my life story, because this is what it is. Writing a book is to inspire generations, to inspire people, and also, like I said, a reference for generations to come. That is amazing. That is amazing. Please, I want you to take note of that. I hope you're writing, I hope you're taking notes, I hope you're keeping your notes. There is so much more to learn. I'm going to ask this now. How did you approach writing with your legal background? In the sense that legal, anybody that hears of lawyer, we hear big English. When you're in the court, and you're like, according to that. So how did you write a book that is accessible and easy to understand for a general audience, given your legal background? How are you able to break down complex things into simple words?
Fantastic. Okay. For me, I needed to have a very clear motivation for writing. It wasn't a money-making venture for me, but I wanted to send a message that will resonate with a particular type of audience in mind. And specifically, I was targeting the youth. Growing up as a kid, we had a lot of energy as youths, and life was a little bit more peaceful then than today's world, where there's so much insecurity, so much violence, and whatever. But in those days, we used to go out as kids and we expressed ourselves. We used to do a lot of gymnastics, rolling around. And then we developed that culture of listening to music. I remember in those days in our living room, my dad, he used to have his vinyl record somewhere, and we play Ebenezer Obey, King Sunny Ade, New Year event. We would invite family members. Everybody would come and we would listen to all kinds of music. So we needed to continue to pass on that culture. And from there, I continued to express myself by following that passion, listening to music, MTV Base in those days, and the different genres of music. I would always love to identify with them: high life music, hip hop, and all of these things. So I now notice that music is a generational thing for the youth. particularly here in Nigeria, you notice that the music resonates with them more than any other thing. When the youth sit down and they consider that, look at some of the metrics we have, there's unequal distribution of wealth, the gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen every day, economic conditions are poor and all of that. So they find solace in music. And a lot of them, when they do that, they take it further by wanting to express themselves by becoming musical artists and what have you. So they see that avenue as the fastest route out of deplorable economic conditions, political instability, and a way to find a path for themselves and give their lives meaning. So I noticed that the motivation for doing that and understanding the purpose of music itself is very fundamental before venturing into music, because music is not ordinary. Music has depth. There's more to music than meets the eyes. Because,
absolutely.
Music is full of inspiration, and music is spiritual. Let's just hit the nail on the head. It's spiritual. So I thought of coming out with something that will be a reference point that can guide people like this. That whenever they come in contact with that material, they would see the history of music, how it all began. And that music is not just dancing and singing, wild lyrics and what have you, but music has purpose. Music is business, for instance. Music is so many things. So you need to understand the dimensions of music so that you can have a better insight as to how to approach it. Even if you want to go into that venture, you want to make music your means of livelihood and all of that. So you have a grasp of how you should go about it, your business structures, your value proposition, your cultural appeal and what have you. So that was the main instinct behind coming up with that kind of.
And I can actually see from what you're saying that it was like a reflection of your own experiences. You grew up listening to music, and that's like a major motivation, right? Aside from every other thing that you mentioned, it started from your experiences, your daddy playing songs and calling the family members, and that's a very, very powerful point that I think you cannot miss, right? As he has already said, your experiences are enough reasons to jot down, to table down, to write as a seed, write as a reference for someone. If you didn't go through that, going through music, is going through the experience and listening to all these kind of songs, probably we would not have known this by now if you didn't write a book about it. So here is your cue to look at what are you experiencing at the moment. This is your cue to look at your experiences through the years and what can you really give to the world. We're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we will continue this discourse. I hope you're getting a lot. If you have not followed us, please follow us. And right now, you can please share this. See you in a bit.
Get ready for intellectually stimulating conversations, a podcast like no other. It's the Page to Shelf podcast. Join us as we navigate the world of creativity, from book ideation and publication to bookshelves and everything after that. Coming your way soon. Page to Shelf podcast, powered by Book Spider.
Welcome back to our amazing episode of Page to Shelf podcast. Why write a book? It's been an amazing time with my guests in the house. I have learned so much. If there's anything ringing in my head right now, it's even the creator of the universe has a book. Oh God. It keeps ringing in my head. I can't take that out of my head, and I know that you can't either. Well, continuing this conversation is still my amiable host, Mr. Olatiliwa David Oyefeso. Thank you for being here again.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So now that we've answered the question why you need to write a book, there's a question that's probably lingering on the minds of other people. Okay, now you've told me, you've motivated me, you've inspired me to think about my life and maybe how somebody maltreated me, but how God turned it for my good, or how I came out of the ashes, how I was able to, all of that. Now they're inspired and motivated by that. They're wondering, when I pick up my notebook and I start to write, and I write and I write, and maybe someone just reads it and like, oh, this is really good. How do I go about publishing it? How do I go about, letting the world know that I've done this? I mean, it's not enough for me to just write it. Someone has to read it. So, from your experience and your journey from being a magistrate and all that you are even now to being an author, right? What was your journey like from the writing to the publishing? How was it easy? Did you have people who work with you on the editing or the proofreading or the reviewing or refining the manuscript as a whole? Yes. What's the process like?
Interesting. So, for me, it starts with a big idea.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I got that nudge. Get a book, a hardcover note, and just write. So I started writing. I just did the first book, the second, the third, and I was like, okay, I'm a novice. I've never written a book before in my life. I'm a novice. So how do I get this out? Who are those that will edit the book for clarity and for perfection? And that was how I stumbled on Sabi Writers. And when I reached out, I was made to know that there's Book Spider that will handle the publication and the publishing and all of that. So it was job made easy for me. So I didn't have to crack my head. I didn't have to go through that process of, doing it in bits and pieces. So it was just a one-stop shop where you can get your dreams actualized. So that was a fantastic breakthrough, for me. And I was also inspired by the fact that the feedback I got from the editors, that was with respect to that first book. It wasn't Melofaz in the Metaverse. It was another book that came on stock at that point because I wasn't able to push it further. But Sabi Writers, I established that first contact and relationship. So it was from there I had the experience and I got to know about Sabi Writers. So when I was now writing Melofaz in the Metaverse, it was a lot easier for me to just glide and flow with my thoughts. So I was able to deliver that to conclusion. And all thanks to Sabi Writers and Book Spider for making it a dream come true.
Wow, that's amazing. That shows that you don't have to do it alone. Writing a book, you don't have to do it alone.
Absolutely.
Great. So what tips would you give to people out there who have other professions and would like to, what advice would you like to give them? Would you give them, to venture into this, to put the, like how Jesus spoke to Peter in the Bible that says, just put your leg in the water and just come to me. So what would be your put your leg in the water first advice?
So my first advice is that, you must avoid the dangers of a single story, like Chimamanda Adichie at Word. A lot of times, there are stereotypes everywhere. So you as a person, you must first recognize your individual strengths.
Recognize your individual strengths.
So that starts with the law of recognition. You must recognize who you are, what you truly represent, what you stand for. Then again, you must identify your talents and your gifts. So once you do that, the next thing for you to do again is to really understand that there are no limitations. If you conceive the idea that, okay, I want to be an author, you can be an author. You don't need to be an expert writer for you to be an author. You have Sabi Writers that can ghostwrite and assist you, to actualize that dream, like I said earlier. So you just need to understand that, there are no limitations everywhere and remove every limitation from your mind.
From your mind. Understand your strengths and weakness, identify your gifts, and know that there are no limitations. Thank you, sir. It's been an amazing time with you on the show today. It's been amazing. I've learned so much. All right. We cannot go without one of our favorite parts of this podcast, and that is getting to know you even more better, right? So you're going to produce, you're going to give us, right? You're going to provide us 2 fun facts about you. Who is Mr. Olatiliwa David Oyefeso? Aside from magistrate, and also what's something about you that you'd like us to know? 2.
Okay. The first one, there was a time in my life I aspired to become a professional basketball player. I dreamt of going to the United States to be part of the NBA, but I was denied visa at some point.
Sorry.
That was the end of the dream.
Oh wow! You have so many untapped parts of you that we haven't even. It's always surprised if I come on social media one day and I see that you're playing the NBA. That's amazing. Another one.
Okay. The other one is at a point in my life as well, I really loved plantain dodo so much that I ate it and I landed in the hospital.
What? How did that happen?
Over
Oh,
18
wow.
years.
Oh my God. You just kept eating and eating and eating. Oh my God.
Taking from other people, taking from them and all of that.
Oh my God.
I just fell sick and I was in the hospital.
Do you like plantains still now?
No. I stopped that so many years ago.
Oh, wow. Because of the incident, right? You just didn't want a repeat of it.
No, I was just I just changed my lifestyle and my eating habits.
Okay.
Plantain, had to fry plantain, but had to get off the menu.
Oh.
Although once in a while I come back to it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's amazing. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Last but not the least, as you have already found out in this podcast, Mr. Olatilewa is a music person. He grew up in music, and so he's going to what they call special number in church. You're going to experience that, and I'll be his backup singer. What an honor! What an honor! So, Mr. Olatilewa, what song are we singing?
Okay. Yeah, let's just do the very old gospel tune.
Okay.
Panam Paul, Come Let's Praise the Lord.
Hi. Did you used to wear the the Anglos and all the
Yes.
Oh, James cannot relate. If you're James on this podcast, you may not be able to relate to this. Okay, so let's go. So how are we going to do it? Am I going to sing the melody? What do you want to sing?
You should sing it because I float my life. The longer I sang the song,
All right.
I can just feel my own.
Okay, in bass, tenor, or
I'll just give it a shot.
you just give it a shot. Okay, now, please chair Mr. Olatilewa. Okay, just say Mr. Tiliwa, Mr. Tiliwa. All right, let's go. Come, let's praise the Lord.
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 He is Jehovah.
Come, let's praise the Lord.
He is El Shaddai.
Talk about his faithfulness.
Say the news around.
Let's praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord again and ever. My God is. Yes, come on. You'll never change. Woo!
From eternity
Yay!
to eternity, you be my God.
Woo! And that's what I was going to say.
Praise
Woo! Jehovah. Hey. Praise him. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. And you have a very nice voice. You have a very nice tone. Thank you very much again for being on this podcast. We have learned so much from you, and we look forward to having you, even better and more. Thank you so much. My audience, the best that there is, thank you so much for joining us on today's podcast. I'll see you next episode. My name is Omolara Perez, and of course, do not forget to follow us on our social media platforms: Instagram, Page to Shelf, TikTok, Page to Shelf Podcast, and YouTube, Page to Shelf Podcast. And also a huge thanks to my production team who are behind the camera, who has made this a success as well. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.